start on? What was the first piece of gear?
All right, the genesis of it. I would have to say 2 tape decks, man. Like we used to pause mix. So it's that whole you have your favorite song or whatever, we call them samples now, but your favorite song, right? And it's the one little part that you want to extend, right? You find that on the tape that you want, and of course, a dual cassette deck, right? You record that one little part onto a blank cassette, pause it, rewind it, get that one little part again, record it, pause it, and you do that for minutes at a time. Well, actually, it take longer than minutes, but like the end result is minutes. And then, yeah, that's your masterpiece. So that was my humble beginnings. Tape deck that my grandmother had bought me. Like, I don't know, man. I probably was like, because even before then, so like with me, it started with breakdancing.
Oh, interesting. Tell me about it. This was your break or like the start of the hip hop game for you?
Yeah, well, breakdancing was first. Like that was the first thing that I knew. And crazy thing, we didn't even know that it was called breakdancing. Like we called it electric boogie. We in Chicago, so we like, oh, what's this? Electric boogie. So we had routines. Me and a couple of my guys, and they were older, but I always hung with older people. But yeah, it started from that. Like I'm talking about, like we had routines to Africa Bambaataa and Soul Sonic Forces, Planet Rock. We had routine to Queens, another one bites the dust. That early on. So that was the beginning of it for me. That was like the beginning of my hip hop journey, right?
Right.
From that point, like it was all about that. Like we didn't know nothing else. Like we just want to dance all day, all night, dance, breaking, well, electric boogieing, as we called it, until I got introduced to Run DMC. My grandfather introduced me to Run DMC. We were on our way to his house. Oh, actually, we were coming back from his house, and he had the cassette, like their first album. Had it on cassette. He's playing it in his car. I'm looking out the window. I'm listening. I was just like, yo, like Sucker MC. I heard that. I said, yo, I could do this. I could do it. Like, and I think that was my transition point from wanting the MC, right? So, start penning little nursery rhymes or whatever. It starts out small or whatever. The crawl before you walk thing, your little baby words or whatever. Think I got 5 strong rhymes that I used to have. They were kind of long or whatever, so I would go around the neighborhood battling people or whatever with 5 rhymes. And I ran across my man MC Rock, rest in peace. He came, actually one of my guy Icebox, he used to beatbox for everybody, came through beatboxing, but he came through, he brought his crew, which was GFC crew, DA Smart, MC Rock, Kiddo, and like everybody spitting or whatever. MC Rock was on the side of me, and he kind of set me up, but he like I had never seen him before, so this is an era, right, where you hear people on the radio, but you never see them unless you just so happen to run across them or know somebody that know them, or So I'm from that era. It's like no face to nobody, right? MC Rock's on the side of me, and he's like, you ever heard MC Rock? I'm like, yeah. I'm listening to the other dudes. So he keep tapping me like, what you think about him? So, yeah. Not knowing that this is him, right? So he like, you think you could beat him? I said, I'm pretty sure I can. Right? So he like, he said, let me hear you. So then Icebox, he beatbox for me. I spit. He looked me up and down and said, nah, you can't beat MC Rock. And I said, oh, yeah, why not? He said, because I'm MC Rock, box. And my man started beatboxing. And, he's spitting or whatever. And I'm like, So I jumped right in. He jumped right in. But what happened, he ran me out of rhymes. I only had 5.
Mm-hmm.
He ran me out of rhymes. So my crew, my man Cool Rick, I look at him like, yo, get him. And he like, nah, it's all you. So I'm like, damn, I ain't got nothing else to say. I know how to come off the top of the head at the time. So I'm like, damn, I'm out. First battle lost, right?
Uh-huh.
So I didn't even want to come outside. I had a song about it. I played like a piece of it in one of the Sidechain sessions or whatever. But yeah, he ran me out of rhymes. I go in the house. I said, I didn't even want to come back outside, man. It was like embarrassing. So I said, I'm gonna hit the pen hard, right? So I didn't come out that summer unless I was going somewhere with my mom's. Other than that, like I wasn't even coming out. I just hit the pen. So then I wanted to make some instrumentals. I ain't got nobody's equipment. Grandma had bought me a tape deck. So I'm like, yo, I'm about to make me some instrumentals. I'm about to rock them, right?
Yeah.
So the first thing I pause mixed, man, I'll never forget. Bismarck's rest in peace, Biz. Make the music with your mouth, Biz. Like in the middle, it's a break. He used to impeach the president. It's Marley Marl. Pause mixed it, beat it up, and then my breakdown was it was a Steady B joint. It was like it had a break in it where Steady B wasn't rhyming, and that was my break. The song was called "Break It Down." It was literally 5 verses, 20 bars each. That's all we knew in Chicago. Rapid fire.
You telling me don't curse, so I reversed and did it worse. First, I put a person in reverse. I kinda got outrageous, taking even made a record how I'm doing all my B-I-T-C-H's. Ducks, it wasn't for the fuck. Every word that you heard is because I didn't give a shucks. And you I almost forgot. The verse is a flop, but it's getting kinda hot. So I'ma let profanity retire. Hey, but if words come to work, I cut you out like with your prior. So grand people kick off first. Do your man a favor and don't curse. I think your favorite curse word and just say cool. Cool flipped around the other way means tough. Boy, when I do it, see I can't get stuck. Jump on a mic, then I earn a quick buck. Lean in the loop, then I grab some boots and step with my troops. For those who can't follow and got stuck, cool flip the other way means is this a curse? I freaked the nurse in a hearse, but I made sure I had my hat first. It's time to kick off first. God cipher the vibe, we can't curse.
Probably that thing was probably what 8-bit.
Yeah,
like
even I think like less. Like
it may have been less,
something.
yeah, because it was a thing where we would already into that like recording something real fast, and then hitting it on the lower keys to bring it to the speed, so it had that whiny that metallic SP1200 sound, right? Because of the bits. Yeah, so then started doing that, making beats that way, and yeah, just going crazy with it like that. So yeah, that was the starts until I was graduating from grammar school. I was working with this guy, Mr. Anthony. He was in the industry, but he had like pretty much. He had a lot of keyboards in his house, but he had all of the rolling drum machines, right? So with some guys I knew that used to go to his house. He's like, man, you could come too or whatever. So I joined their crew, and they should just make production. They should go to his house and make beats and stuff or whatever. But the thing was, you had to learn piano, you had to learn music theory and all that stuff, right? So I said, okay, cool. So they took me over and said, yeah, I want to learn lessons, but I wanted to learn it. But I mainly wanted to get at them drum machines, right? So go to his crib or whatever. Most times, he's older guy or whatever. So, he'll let me in, he'll go to sleep. So when he go to sleep, right, I start exploring stuff. So I'm over there by myself, right? So he'll give me like these Liberace books and stuff or whatever. So I sit there while he's in the room and just go through scales and all of that, right? And then as soon as he leaves to go lay down, I'm looking for the sequencer, looking for the drum, and I'm linking up drum machine. You know what I'm saying? Because I already had an idea of it just because, my buddies, they already showed me that. So go through that or whatever. So I'm making beat tapes back then, making all these beats or whatever. So he blessed me. He gave me a Roland 707 drum machine for graduation. And it was on from there, of course, right? I got a drum machine. And then my cousins, they had one of them toy Yamaha keyboards with like the little mid
Ported
keys.
sound.
Yeah, like it's similar to like a Ported, but I think it was before then.
Before that.
Yeah, it was. It had like the I think it had like the Stevie Wonder song as like a demo or whatever. But I would use that for sound. So naturally, and it had like no MIDI or nothing. So it just had to play in real time, make beats. And then I had got a 4-track reel to reel from my uncle. So I was piecing stuff together. Got a 4-track reel to reel from my uncle. So here I am making 4-track demos like on a reel to reel, not even knowing like I'm more advanced than my peers, really. And didn't even know it. I'm just like, yo, I'm just doing it or whatever, right? So making the tapes, taking them to school. Now I'm battling people all in school, like all that stuff. So yeah, so that's the humble beginning. So then
Just before
from there, I think I started just getting just all kinds of stuff. I even had like the little the symphonic drums, like the little 4 drum pads, or whatever. I used to program like all that stuff. So see, going from there, then like all of my, we getting older. So then my friends started getting gear, but I had my sights on DJing, right? So my uncles had opened up a club, and I saw this one DJ used to spin house music. His name was Farley Jack Master Funk. I saw him spinning, and I just
What year was that? What is the like? When did the house started popping up?
Ooh, man, you talking about 80? So they opened this club. Was it 84? 84, 80. They may have opened it in 80, like maybe going into 85. They opened up that club. So I had my sights on DJing.
Right.
I saw him and I was just like, oh man, I could do that. And he's just setting up. He's doing like a little cutting, like here and there. So that was like my first time seeing a DJ up close. And I was like, yo, I could do that or whatever. So then started working. So I got some turntables. So I got one turntable, right? Practice scratch. Got a mixer, practice scratching or whatever. Then I bought the other turntable. Then practice my blending and all of that stuff. So this is like all these progressions. So around this time, so I had my friends getting into beat making, but I'm like, I'm gonna stick with these turntables and stuff or whatever, right?
Interesting.
So then like a lot of my friends, they couldn't understand like the science of beat making. I already had like a good concept because I already had, at this point, as a background in making drum machines, meeting and everything up, and we was dealing with sequences and stuff then. So so then I started showing them stuff. So I was like I learned their stuff for them and then teach them how to work their stuff or whatever, right? So then and then along the way, I'm making beat tapes and stuff, like doing that stuff too or whatever. Go to their crib, make a beat tape or whatever, showing them stuff or whatever, and that's that. But at this point, I'm DJing. So I think my first piece of gear where I'm like, all right, I'm about to do this or whatever, was actually MPC 3000, bro.
Oh.
That was the first. And this is after. Ah, man, I'm bouncing around place. This is after the moment, because like actually when I joined the moment, like the moment was already together, right? So like, do you want to hear that story?
I dim the lights when I write to catch a feel. Busting brain cells in half on the paper they spill. I wipe them off when I'm done.
Molemen crew. That's my family. Um, so how did that come about? Okay, so they was already working with my man Vakil, right?
And that's
Um,
also around that time, like 85.
no, so this is going forward. Uh, so damn. So I went with Vakil to like this CRC studio. Damn, what was that? 89?
Okay.
Might have
Well,
been
right. If
89.
it's MPC 3000 came out
No, no,
in,
no, 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 no.
or the
No,
family
this
came
is
before that.
before.
Gotcha,
Yeah, this
gotcha.
is before. Yeah, this is before then, because they had like the first MPC. Whenever the first MPC came out, because that's what Rick Thump was in the Molemen. Rick, shout out to my man Rick. Rick was using the MPC,
Gotcha, gotcha.
and we was in the studio, and he's like, "Yo, I want you on this song called Look Both Ways Before Crossing." So it's like, I bet. So I wrote it out, met him at the studio, and this time, like people like we used to buy like 8-hour blocks of studio time. And that's just for recording, because then you have to buy another 8 hours or whatever to mix your stuff down or whatever. So he bought an 8-hour block, knocking out songs. He already did like the demo part of it or whatever, right? So you go in and you in the booth like one take Hove. Like you like Jay-Z just jumping in doing that stuff in one take. That's what we was doing, because we not already, demoed it out and all that. So Rick in there with his MPC 60, knocking out stuff. And then it was like, okay, cool. So then they started doing mixtapes. And then my brother had became a part of them. My brother Level, he became a part of them, but and they was pressing him to like get some work done as far as like doing songs and stuff, right? I think he jumped on one of the mixtapes with him or whatever, but like the beats that they were making at the time, it didn't suit him. So he was like, he said, I need to keep them busy. He's like, yo, they got beats, they doing all this stuff for Vakil, but they kind of wanted to switch up, because Vakil was like, think about Coogee Rap in his prime. Like that was Vakil. Vakil was like a fast floor, like bah, 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 bah. He's like flow fast or whatever, right? But they kind of wanted to do something a little different. But they, like I said, they wouldn't make anything at the time to suit my brother. So my brother come grab me. He said, yo, I need you to entertain them for a second while I get my stuff together. Right. So I say, okay. So he come grab me and we go up there or whatever. So I'm looking like I already worked with him, with Vakil, like on his early demo. So I go up and I peep him or whatever. So then they going through beats. And I'm like, they played one. I was like, oh, this is mean. I like this or whatever. And it's crazy because it was like it was a sample that like later on I heard Guru over it. And I think it came out the same time that I had did mine. Right. And I did the song with them called Back to, I did it like right there on the spot. First time like kicking it with them like that, right? And this is in the basement. Like we used to call it the mole hole. The mole hole. We used to be in the mole hole. Go to the mole hole or whatever. I lay down back to the neck. And then in fact, I think I laid two songs. I laid Back to the Neck, and I had this song called Mr. Wreck Rack. So this is what I'm doing on the spot, right? This is my first time kicking it. Like I said, my brother. So they was like, yo. They said, all right, cool. Like, when can you come back? I was like, I can come back tomorrow if you want or whatever, right? So then I think I came back the next day. I'm not for sure. But whenever every time I came around them, I'm knocking out songs. So they was like, yo, you know, like, yeah, this is ill. So they was like, shit, you one of us. And I was like, bet or whatever. So there it was. So like some, you know, they're sitting and play video games or whatever. So my man Rick Thump, like he was the one that did most of the beats at the time. You had DJ Mix Massacre. He was off on the side, like you know, he was doing beats and stuff too, like real nice stuff. But he, you know, DJ. So then I was like, well, shit, let me not focus on production and let me keep this pen moving, right? So I'm knocking out songs, bro. I'm talking about like every chance I go up there, I'm knocking out like, and they was on the north side of Chicago too. I'm from the south side. So yeah, I'm knocking out songs, bro, like 3, 4, 5 songs, like every time I'm around. So I'm keeping them busy, like just like my brother said, like, yo, like, you know, keep them busy or whatever, right? So then it was just like, yo, we got the studio time built, book. We're gonna knock out these songs. I'm like, shit, I bet. Go knock out the songs, one take hold, like we did some. So that was like my first project that came out. It's called It Looks Like Rain.
Put on my kicks and walking through the battle part of hell. People testing they fail. Word to herb for the quail like results when I wanna get away from it.
And then like it grew legs and it just started moving. So then it comes the shows. Then it's every radio station you could think of, and you know, all of that stuff. So we was just going crazy on that. Shows crazy, like all that. And then I think I was at my man Panic crib, and he showed me a magazine, and it had my picture, and it had a write-up of me in there, right? So I said, I think it was called like Flavor Magazine or something. I never heard of the magazine or nothing. So when I saw that, I had to sit down. I was like, wow. Because you're like, you know, it's an era, like we don't think about that. All we think is just running through the city, just ripping it, right? So at that point, I think I started taking it more serious. Not to say that I wasn't, but it's just, you know, you just kind of just, I was just doing it. You know, you're just doing it without thinking. And not even realizing too, like a lot of the stuff that I was doing, like when I reflect back on it, it's a lot of history. But absolutely. I didn't look at it as history. You know, when you're in the middle of something, man, you're not like, oh man, this is going in the history books. You know, you just don't have no idea of that at the time. Like while it's happening. But you know, like thinking back now, it's like when somebody opened up a conversation with me about like the past, like the stuff that I've been a part of and the stuff that I've even seen, I'll just stop and just be like, yo, you need to write a book. And at first I didn't take it serious because I was just like, man, I'm still writing my story though. You know, so I didn't take it serious. Like being a part of Sidechain, like that's a whole nother chapter. You know, because like by the time I even like knew what Sidechain was, like I was getting ready to pack up the equipment and move on to something else. You know, not even music related. Because like at this time I had slowed up on the DJing side. And I had put the pen down for a little bit. I was doing beats like here and there, and I was just like, So it's like Sidechain gave me new life. Which, you know, it was interesting. Which that's a whole nother thing we can get into.
How did that happen? Like when did that happen, and how that you stumbled over a sidechain? How did it?
It's crazy. Like I saw drums on Producer's Grind.
Okay.
Interview. And he spoke about it at the end, like, you know, that's what he was doing.
Okay.
And like I dug into him a little bit, and I was just like, man, everything around this dude is like real positive. I said, I'm gonna have to tap in. I'm gonna have to tap in with dude. Like I liked everything about him.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm gonna have to tap in with dude. So as soon as I tapped in Sidechain, um, the Thursday Zoom calls, like, yo, jump on the Zoom. I don't think I did it right away, right? Like a couple of Thursdays went by, and then I tapped in, and I was like, oh, this is cool, and it was crazy. Like I played a beat, it's just like it's kind of like MCing too, um, like the MCing aspect, like when you meet somebody that rhyme, and this is how it used to be. Like it got a little jaded now, or whatever. But like meet an MC, right? You kind of have like bait rhyme. You kind of throw a bait rhyme out. It
Mm-hmm.
has like a couple of punchlines or whatever. But depending on what raises like it's like playing poker too. Like sometimes you gotta have a poker face, like, that ain't nothing, that ain't phase me or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Certain lines will raise an eyebrow though, and you kind of peep it, like you peep their facial expressions or whatever, see what they flinch on or whatever, and be like,
Mm-hmm.
this is an easy battle. Or if they don't flinch at all, it's like, all right, I'm gonna have to tear into them with something a little stronger, something like same thing, same approach with beat making for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I tapped into the Thursday Zoom. I'm peeping everybody or whatever. Uh, like I peeped Dust might have like a whole set. He was behind like a green screen or whatever. So he played like a 5-minute set, kill it, right? So I said, damn. I said, all right. So I said, I'm gonna play this one little beat or whatever. And I think the volumes was crazy, like all this stuff. Like it was mixed, but I think something was going on as far as my audio on the Zoom or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I played it, and then it was like a 2-minute, 2.5-minute joint, whatever. And then fall back, peep everybody, Radic kill it, like they kill it. So I say, damn. I say, all right, next time I'm gonna come through and I'm gonna really show what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I think the next day, I jumped on like one of the in the Zoom, like with like when you talk, like the living room.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
And
right, right.
yeah, I was in the living room, complete, Matt, sincere. I feel like Carl was there and somebody else. I jump in and we talk, and I'm talking about we talk like friends, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like we talk like friends, and I think that's why I had I had a certain, like I love everybody in Sidechain, right? But
Mm-hmm.
then you have like those brothers that's like really, really, you know what I'm saying? Like really, really close to you. Like, yo, so them the ones I bonded with first, like complete, sincere, Carl, especially. Like Carl, like when I first touched down in North Carolina, like Carl was like, yo, let me know when you get here, whatever. So that's my man's for life. Um, Matt or whatever, like, we had a straight heart to heart,
Mm-hmm.
like on some men being men, like it was dope. So I was like, shit, I think I found a new family.
No.
And there it was. So that became like Sidechain is family, bro.
And on that note, what would you say? Like, what did you miss in the early days of hip hop, like culture, community wise, and that is present now, and vice versa?
What do I miss about it?
Like, what
Um,
would? Mm-hmm.
the crazy thing, like it's a new energy. Um, I can't say that I miss it. It seems like it always changes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and by me knowing that, it's easy for me to embrace. Like I go to bat for like the young, like a lot of people be saying like, this new music trash, and I'd be like, nah, not necessarily. It's not really, like, yeah, it's a lot of death culture, and people's like, drill trap took over, blah blah blah. I have a certain love for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, the reason being, you think about hip hop, hip hop's roots. Like hip hop started, it was gang culture was a part of hip hop from jump.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to Africa Bambaataa and the Black Spades and all of that, like it was
Right.
gang culture was there.
Right.
All right, like it never left. The younger ones, like yeah, it turned up or whatever. Like it's definitely turned up, but it's always been like the element has always been there.
For
So
sure.
when people just kind of like throw, this is the whole thing of throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Mm-hmm.
I recently got into an argument with a coworker, like maybe 2 weeks ago, and he's like, "Oh, this new stuff, I don't like it, blah blah blah." So yeah, it's not hip hop. I said, "Bro, you can't say that." What you mean I can't say that, bro? You can't say that it's not hip hop. Rap is one small element of hip hop. It's rhythm and poetry. I said they're rhyming, so it's poetry, and they're doing it to a rhythm. So they're a part of hip hop. You can't throw them away just because you don't like it. It's subjective.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, nah, nah, nah. And I said, bro, you can't, and I was going hard, right? And people, it's like people, we was in the break area, right? So people stopped and tuned into the conversation. They was looking like, yeah, he kind of right. Like like he's making some good points. And I'm like, bro, you just can't do that. I said, that's the whole problem. Like when people always talking about like the old head energy, right? I don't know if you've heard that before, but they be like, old head energy. There's some
Yeah.
haters or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I understand why they say that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I understand it. And so it's like I tend to correct people. Like I try my best to correct and I stand with them. Like, man, don't throw them away. Like they're hip hop too. They're a part of this, like it or not.
Mm-hmm. Do you
They
think
are a part of it.
they are open, or like the current kids are more open than before
Open as far as um
for newer stuff and for older stuff as well within their
um
culture?
yeah, they could be more open, but it's gonna have to you're gonna have to meet them halfway though.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're gonna have to meet them halfway. It's like, it's some of us that embrace them or whatever, but then, they're still kind of leery too, because then you still have some that try to feed off their energy to stay relevant. They're aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that come along and be like, man, I want to stand next to him because I got a single that may not do too well, but unless I attach to his movement or whatever, it may gain traction,
Mm-hmm.
that type of thing. So they're leery of that stuff too, and that's really a whack way of going about it. Just embrace them for the love. Like a lot of genuine love is missing out of it.
Interesting.
Genuine love for like just the culture
For the art.
overall. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. Genuine love. And I can honestly say, like, I've always had the same level of love for
Mm-hmm.
all aspects of hip hop.
Right.
Always. Like when I hear like a beatboxer, like I see like some dude beatboxing on TikTok, it drew
Mm-hmm.
me in. It's like, oh man, because I used to beatbox. Like I used
Mm-hmm.
to beatbox for an actual crew, where I was the full-time beatboxer for the crew. So I love it. I love that. I love seeing graffiti. Like I always love graffiti.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I just love it all, man. Love DJing, love DJs. Like it's just a natural thing. So it's like my love for it never left.
Well, it's the funk frantic causing panic in your section. Flow so tight they give your ears heat infection.
Ain't no protection. What?
Mack-A-Damien's heating up and giving the world a new complexion.
It's really interesting to me how you go about writing, given that you're able to finish tracks quickly, I assume. It's like, what's the process there? How do you go about, like, how do you sit down? It just comes to you?
Yeah, it does. And so when it does, like I make sure I get it out. Like it's no time limit to creativity. So it's like when I start banging it out, I do understand that yeah, I may have stuff to do in the morning, but it's one of them things too. It's like my love for it is so strong, right? So I'll
Mm-hmm.
be like, well, I'm just gonna have to deal with being sleepy at the gig, and then I'll catch up on some sleep at some point. But it's just like I'm gonna bang this out and do it. And um, like as far as like finishing
Mm-hmm.
tracks, like and this comes from like the discipline that I had, like banging out on the MPC 3000, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything I did, I put in the song format. Um, and that comes from writing, like MCing.
Mm-hmm.
So I know the verse part or whatever, the intro, the verse, break, and all that stuff. So it'll have that or whatever. A lot of the stuff now or whatever, because like even like my Ableton sessions, right? Um, like when you see them, it'll have like a track, you see a break, another track, break, a track. I may have like 3 or 4 songs in one Ableton session,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like when I'm done, when I'm done with that part, I'll say I'm not done creating for the night, or that time.
Mm-hmm.
And mostly I do stuff at nighttime. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it's like when I bang out, I bang out. And like I say, I understand, like, hey, I may be tired in the morning, but
You
I'm
gotta
willing to
finish it.
accept the consequences.
I
You
feel
know what
that.
I'm
I
saying?
feel that so
I'm
much.
willing to
Mm-hmm.
accept it, man. And that's just the love for it. Like I still got the love. But like Sidechain is the one that like give me that love. That keeps me in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that Sidechain,
Absolutely.
because it's like without that energy, I think I would have packed up, bro. Like I think I was just kind of like, I've said what I needed to say, MCing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a thing too. I always feel like uh people should add on,
Mm-hmm.
add on to the, like, whatever you do, add on to it.
Absolutely.
Like add on to the culture. You're a beat maker, add on, bro. That's why I love your stuff. Um, experimental.
Appreciate you.
Like I love experimental um production.
Mm-hmm.
Like when drums say, like, people hear his stuff, and you got his kick drum is down south somewhere, and it's coming like so off beats. It's just like boom, it's like, oh, catching
Mm-hmm.
off. Like I love stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love it. Um, and it's crazy. Like on Twitter, I saw somebody post they posted a question, like uh not verbatim. Well, it was like what is the most progressive genre of music right now? And I was going through the comments, and a lot of people were saying drum and bass, which is
Interesting.
interesting, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
like I like my my thoughts on drum and bass. Like initially I was like, oh man, this is cool, but like I don't really see it. I see it going so far, right?
Mm-hmm.
It can go so far, like spit up. But I mean, these people were adamant, like, oh man, this is more forward thinking. Well, it was like drum and bass, and some people say IDM, which I get
Mm-hmm.
the IDM or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But like, let's see, my thoughts on IDM too. I think that's where AI is gonna attack that genre first.
Interesting.
Yeah, I feel that they're gonna, because I feel like that genre relies on algorithms, right?
Uh-huh.
And AI operates on algorithms. So I feel like when they say AI makes beats and like all this stuff or whatever, I think it's gonna be along those lines or whatever. So that's gonna be the genre that's gonna get flooded first. And this is my opinion.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about this? Like, what is AI going to do to music?
It's not gonna do nothing to me. But yeah, because at the end of the day, like, bro, like, I mean, it's been proven time and time again, like you can't reproduce soul. Like
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's like what we do, the experimental stuff. Like, how is it gonna know the experiment
Mm-hmm.
if not everybody's experimenting?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's only putting out a part of what it's fed, or its interpretation of what it's fed. So these people, this is a quick cook up and blah, 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 like them or whatever, like them the ones that's gonna be under attack. And it's not gonna be us.
Mm-hmm. Fair
So
enough.
it's like AI, as far as like beat making, man, that's the least of my worries.
And what would you say is the most progressive? I mean, we obviously both know what the most progressive, but let's check yours.
Us, beat culture,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
period. Beat culture, and it's crazy because I mean it's not crazy, but beat culture covers your house music, because we do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like we tap in, and everything that we tap into, we make it our own.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the most progressive. Like that, like I said, that's the thing that gave me new life. Like even like sometimes like I'll say if I post something, I may tag it as lo-fi, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the reason that I do that, it's not even like I don't care about algorithms and like all of that stuff or whatever. But lo-fi as I knew it, like early on, your DBIC, like stolen drum stuff, Amon Omari, knowledge, like that stuff is that's the stuff that drew me into it.
Mm-hmm.
While I was looking, I was like, holy shit, because listening to him, right? Like when they would do like remixes, flips, or
Mm-hmm.
our equivalent to a remix is a flip.
Mm-hmm.
And the flips is really taking artists out of their element, right? And putting them in a whole different element and just making them wild out. So it's like when you just be like, yo, like what's that producer? Like the producer, he took the girl around Glorilla and put her to a Jay Dilla beat. And people freaked out, right? Like, whoa, man, you can't do this. This is and they halfway attacked them,
Mm-hmm.
but I understood it. Understood it. And it's a thing too, like anytime like something's not familiar, um if people can't equate it to something and it's like so foreign to not even left, because like that mashup that he did, it wasn't left field, but because they so used to her on trap stuff or whatever, till it was just foreign, like it almost like messed their minds up or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, oh man, this is too much. So it's like he kind of got bashed for it, and I was just like, bro, this is brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we do. Like
Mm-hmm.
when we do flips, we taking them out of their element and putting them where we want them to go.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd be fire. It'd be fire. Like I remember I had mentioned it in one of the sessions, right? I said, I think for some reason we got on Elvis Presley. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna beat him up a little bit. Like I'm literally he about to be lo-fied out. Like I'm gonna do that or whatever.
Did you do?
Yeah.
Did you?
I haven't done it yet. Like actually I toyed around with like a couple of them, but like nothing that stuck right away.
Okay.
But yeah, so I still gotta
I
play.
can't wait to hear that.
Oh
It's
yeah,
going to be amazing.
yeah, he's gonna he's gonna become part of us.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember, like I did a Ray Charles one,
Nice.
and it came out better than I expected.
Mm-hmm. I
It
imagine
came out
it's
better.
hard because he's singing actually, so probably the beat needs to match this, right? Or
Yeah, but see, that's where the magic comes in. And it's like, bro, we're not held to no standards or nothing. Like
Hmm.
we could do whatever. We could do whatever. Like we could switch the beat. You know what I'm saying? You could flip like three. He could be singing one song, but we could flip like three different beats to his song or whatever. That's like the whole magic in it. That's why
Hmm.
my Ableton sessions look the way they look, because it's like that's how I'm wired. You know, yeah, it's like bang out, yeah, bang out another one. And I'm gonna bang
Hmm.
out another one. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? I'm bang out till I just can't bang out no more. You know, and
Great,
that's
great.
that's what it is. And that's how I see y'all. So it's like when we be in the sessions and y'all be playing like all them like phenomenal tracks, just be like, man, I just imagine y'all sessions looking like mine. Like it may or may not, but I
Hmm.
just figured like everybody's wired the same way but differently, if that makes
Hmm.
sense.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know drums has a session similar to yours. He's basically has one session for everything for the year.
Oh
So,
yeah. Yeah, like I'll make a template. Like I have a template that's just for me laying vocals
hmm.
or whatever. And then like because I mainly like I'll bang out something, and if I feel like writing to it, I'll write to it. But then I'll two track it, and then I'll dump it into Ableton, and then just lay my vocals on it.
You two track it from where?
From Ableton and just render
Oh,
it.
oh, okay, gotcha. From just as a two track back into another Ableton session, or
Yeah,
this. Okay, gotcha, gotcha.
right. And then yeah, I'll just open up my vocal template and put the two track on
Hmm.
there, and then
Hmm.
just rhyme over it.
Did you keep some technique from the 3000 era that you still apply, even though it's Ableton and everything is possible?
Yeah, yeah, because that was a certain discipline. So um just with everything being in song format,
Hmm.
yeah, definitely that. Like I already have an idea. Like once yeah, it's gonna change here, drop out, dropouts and like all of that stuff. So yeah, that discipline has always been there. And it's like eight, I'll listen for 8 bars, then set a loop, go to the next 8 bars and fix it how I want, go to the next 8 bars. And yeah, that's how it's been. That's how I trained myself. Yeah. And even like I think that's why I hated I think me and Crit was talking about this, but the ASR, the ASR X.
Mm, the
I think that's
small
why.
joint.
Yeah, yeah. So
Hmm.
remember they had the keyboard, the ASR
Hmm.
10, and then the ASR X Pro.
Hmm.
So like one of my closest friends, like he had one, and like I used to always I gravitated towards it because it got the pads on there and stuff or
Hmm.
whatever. So it reminded me of a SP 1200, like the way the pads were and stuff or whatever. But man, when I tried to like go into song mode, like with the sequences, it would hesitate from step to step.
Hmm.
Man, it drove me crazy. So I was like, ah, man, I hate this thing.
Ah, yeah.
I hate it. Like it was it's like I don't know if that if it ever got fixed on some type of update or something, but I didn't stick around to find out. I just was like, nah, this thing sucks, and this is the reason why, and I'm moving on.
Hmm. Hmm. No, absolutely, I can understand that. Do you still have to get into in the zone to start working, or do you just sit down and bang out?
Just sit down and bang out.
Word.
And like most times too, like that it's to a point now where it's like my own version of rhythm roulette,
Hmm.
right? Where I take like um I just take like whatever, and it's like, all right, this is what I need to. It's like I have to limit myself
Hmm.
to make my greatest creations, so to speak,
Hmm.
because um in the DAW world, everything is possible. Like there's a plug, there's something for everything in that world, right? And it took me a long time to get into that space. And when I did get into that space, what I thought was going to happen, it happened. Like I got overwhelmed because it's like everything is at your fingertips. So it was just like, damn, like, okay, well, what part do I be creative? You know, as far as, because it's just like, you know, because, you know, like banging out on the MP, SP12, whatever, right? You have an idea and you have to figure out how to get to that idea, how to execute that idea, right? Whereas like, you know, the way they build plugins and stuff now, it's like everything is just right there. Or even like in stock plugins, like you know, your Ableton, your Bitwig, whatever. Everything is right there. So you just like, okay, okay, or whatever, you know. So it's like at some point, like I had to learn to embrace it and just be like, all right, everything is here. All right, I'm just about to bang out. And that's that. So it's like once I kind of had that attitude, then it's just like, I'm just gonna bang out then. I'm just gonna bang out. There it was or whatever. But then sometimes, you know, it's that like recently, like when I did that, not the last tape, but the NPC files joint.
Oh, that's amazing, by the way.
And thank you. Like when I did that one, I was just like, man, I just feel like banging. Just feel like banging out. And I brought, because I had it was in the garage. And so I grabbed that and I grabbed floppies. And yep. Yep. I grabbed the floppies and I just started going for it, man. And before I knew it, I had like all of this stuff like in a quick amount of time, just I guess off of nostalgia. Because it was nostalgic, like it, you know, you tapping out, man. It took me back to the 90s. And man, there it was. Before I knew it, I looked.
Did you mix it in Ableton after that, or is it like completely fully MP?
No, so I put some of it through Ableton to like separate the stuff or whatever, and then to do like you know, like little certain elements I needed, like a little reverb and stuff, whatever, to do that part, and then rendered it from there, and then put it in SoundForge, and then just, you know, put my real saturation on it and that stuff or whatever. That was that.
Yeah, dope. So you kind of captured the sound of the MP and just did some touch-ups.
Yep,
That.
exactly. Touch-ups, and then and then like the final tweak and SoundForge, then to people's ears.
And it sounds like you just mentioned the rhythm roulette style. How do you go about like sound organization? So when you build a track and you want to add something, do you have a system where you know where to pick from, or is it just random?
It's random. So like records, I still listen to records on 45 and then with the pitch all the way up. And it's crazy. Actually, being with the like that's hope I'm not telling too much, but like that's how Molemen listen to stuff. And they kind of taught me to listen to stuff like that. Like basically put it on 45 and you know, pitch all the way up or whatever and play it as you know, on the turntable as fast as it can go. And when a melody pops out at you, right? And with me, like a melody that pops out, I repeat it in my head, and when I repeat it, it's like, oh, that's catchy. And I go back and get it, sample it, slow it down, and yeah. So that's always been the thing too. Like,
and you still do it in the Ableton time. You record it pitched up and then slow down in the DAW.
No doubt, yeah.
Word.
Yeah. Listen to it like real fast and then just like transpose in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, transpose it down. Or I mean, if it sounds real good, I mean, keep it at the same speed,
Mm-hmm.
depending on what it is.
Mm-hmm. Fire.
Yeah,
That's
but
fire.
that's still a thing, man. Yeah, that's still my thing. That's how I guess that's how I would train. That's the way I adapted to.
And what would be compared to this, like this is something that has been with you from the beginning, what would be a recent technique that you made your own?
Hmm. I don't know, man. It's kind of it's so many there's so many things I do because it really depends on it depends on how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the situation. It's like a lot of times like my filtering,
Mm-hmm.
like I try to use like passive EQs, right?
Okay.
And that's like EQs that don't add any color.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, technically like um they don't go through any type of circuitry.
Mm-hmm.
Just dealing with the frequency, and that's that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how I've always shaped my samples too, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And that comes from like not having like recording monitors, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's like I have monitors now, but back then, like say like when we were in the mole hole, right? We had like PA speakers that we did everything through.
Uh-huh.
So we had it's like we would kill the bass, for what I'm saying? Like and that's how we would sample instead of
Uh-huh.
like if we wanted something, we
Uh-huh.
had like a lot of EQ manipulation. So it's like that's a technique that I still use.
Mm-hmm.
Um Even like going into the 404.
Mm-hmm.
Um yeah, it's like I'm shaping the sample before it even gets to the machine. So then that way, I have to do nothing crazy, like no, trying to figure out stuff, but then just I'll settle for this. It's like, no, I'm not really settling, like, because I already have the idea of how I want it to sound. It's just getting to that sound that I have in my head. Because like once I hear something, I already see the finished uh like how it's gonna sound. Like I already
Oh,
hear it
wow.
before I even do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of it's a race to do it how I have it in my head or how I hear it. And
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, just execute it.
That's crazy. Very,
Yeah. And
very inspiring.
it's always been like that too. Even like there was a point in time like especially like with the 3000, right? Um like man, I probably used to bang out like 4 or 5 songs per day. And this is like from sampling it, putting it in the song mode, and then writing to it, and then laying the vocal, like going in my closet and laying down the vocals, and then going and doing the next one. I'm just like 4 or 5 songs per day for a long time.
Which is like in terms of hours, where would you put it? Just so that kids know. Everybody on the internet needs to know how fast it is.
Hours? Oof. I probably could start like 12 and then like at nighttime before like somebody's coming to the house to my let's go to the club.
Mm-hmm.
And see, back then too, like the club experience, it was different for us because we hit like multiple clubs per day, right? But the clubs we going in, right, it's like as soon as you step into the spot, these hip hop clubs, right?
Mm-hmm.
You step into the spot, they calling you out. Like as soon as you hit the door, like, yo, we got Mckthrn in the building. Come up here and spit. You know what time it is. You got to make your way to the DJ, you know, wherever the DJ is. You got to grab the mic. You got to go for it.
So you're basically
That was like
training, working out.
Yeah.
Every night.
Yeah, it almost big. Yeah, it really it's like muscle memory. And then
Mhm.
we rocked that spot. And then it's like, all right, we finna, you know, dap everybody up, hit the next spot. Like, yo, we about to go, you know, and it was just like certain areas had like multiple clubs on certain nights or whatever. So certain nights we go on Halsted or whatever, and we hit like these clubs. And then, you know, we go to the north side. We're gonna hit this spot, hit this spot, hit that spot. I said, we step in the building. We're like, yo, Mack-A-Damien-Thorne here. You know what time it is. Grab the mic. You gotta spit, rock them, get out. And sometimes when we be in the area, be like, oh man, such and such radio stations up here. Let's go up here and freestyle right quick before we leave the area and go to, you know, like showing everybody love. I remember times where like everywhere I went, like my man EC Illa would be there and we just rock out together. Like we'll just rock. He be promoting his album or whatever, and I'm just stepping through, just, you know, freestyle maniac.
Do you remember? Do you remember? Like, do you have like a story where things went hilariously wrong from that time?
But like everything went wrong. I had a lot of hilarious moments. I can't say like things went wrong.
Something you're almost ashamed for, or even ashamed for, but it is so funny that it is also cool.
Nah, not really ashamed, but like I remember I was at the spot doing a sound check, right? And I was rhyming. And it was actually I was performing for a MC battle, right? So I wasn't in the battle, like they had a cash prize, like I knew the people. It'd be unfair for me to get in it, right? So I was one of the performers. I think it was like three acts performing. I was one of the performers. I was doing sound check. And this was like just before the MC battle was happening, right? And as I'm doing the sound check, spit, DJ cutting up, and everything was cool. I think I put the mic on the mic stand, right? And then I just hear something or whatever, but I'm like, okay, my part's done. I'm not even focused on nothing. And then I just hear this crowd say, whoa, you know, DJ still cutting up or whatever. And I turn around and behind me, it's a dude like pointing, like rhyming. My brother was at the front of the stage, right? So I looked down. I said, who's he talking to? He said, he talking to you, you better, and I read his lips. He said, he talking to you, you better kill that mother. So I grabbed the mic back and I said, yo, so I ran up on him, right? And I'm like all over. So they pulled me off of him, like, cause I'm on him, bro. Like, I was like, what? Like, oh no. So I'm on him, right? So they grabbed me or whatever. And then he kind of was looking like this, like, oh. And then, you know, everybody was laughing. I said I wasn't ashamed of it because, like, you know, I don't know what's going on, but he thought the MC battle had started or something or whatever. Like, you know, I don't know what dude problem was. They got fixed real quick. You know what I'm saying? They got fixed real quick. Like my brother was like, "You talking to you? You better kill that mother." And you know, it was interesting. Actually, later on that night, right? Before I went on stage to rhyme, I'm in the bathroom, and sort of like the same thing happened. Only this time it was like somebody like came up on me, you know, battling while I'm at the urinal, right? So I say, wait, what? I said, yo, all right, hold on. So I'm finished up, and then I'm in warfare. Now I didn't even know they calling me to the stage. I'm in the bathroom. It was two dudes. I'm battling two dudes, right? So they asking my brother like where I'm at. It's like, man, last time I saw him was in the bathroom. Let me go check on him. He come in the bathroom. I'm in warfare. So he jumps in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here we is, we battling these dudes or whatever. So at this time, I don't even care about the stage. I'm, you know, that's the whole MC thing. I'm like, I'm gonna kill these mugs, right? So, so me and my brother. So by the time like we done, like them dudes was hugging us, like, yo, like, yeah, y'all got it, bro. And then my brother was like, oh, yo, you're supposed to be on stage. So then I hurry up and jet to the stage, right? So like by this time, I'm rhyming, but my brother was my hype man, right?
Mm-hmm.
So spitting, well, you know, normally like when I spit or like on stage, right? Uh, I always look to the back of the crowd, or like just always focus on the back
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, right? So nothing in particular, like something I seen somebody pointing, like from the middle of the crowd, like somebody was pointing. And so, you know, it's that whole MC mentality. It's like, I'm the best. I'll battle anybody, you know, like all that stuff or whatever. So I'm looking, I see somebody pointing. So I'm like, I know he don't want it too. You know what I'm saying? So, so I'm in mode. But then I look at my brother. My brother had like shrugged his shoulders and pointed to me. So I think what happened, the dudes that we battled in the bathroom, right? They was on some like, you know, they was telling the crowd like, yo, like, yeah, we was battling them dudes or whatever. They, you know, whatever. So they wanted to hear my brother rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
My brother was like, this is his show. I ain't got nothing. I'm his hype man or whatever. Like I said, I'm kind of peeping the interactions. I said, okay, they don't want it. So then I continue on with the show or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And then, you know, that was that. And I think typical Chicago fashion, I think that show ended in gunfire.
Of
Nobody
course.
like nobody got killed or nothing, but I just remember shots being fired. And then you know, I go outside, I'm looking to see if any of my people, you know, the people that I roll with, like see if is
Mm-hmm.
anybody out there, we all good or whatever. We were all good or whatever. So then, you know, we leave the spot.
Mm-hmm. Crazy. You're saying that that was happening the whole time? People.
Like you know, it was a battle. And see, this is eh, so it was an era that came where like people started you know, when they started figuring out that it was like the crowd decides like the winner of things, people wanted to bring their neighborhoods to like the
Mm-hmm.
spot or whatever to win just
Mm-hmm.
because of crowd participation and the crowd judging
Mm-hmm.
versus like, you know, actual judges.
Right.
So I think that was like one of those moments to where like you know, this crowd came with this MC or whatever and all this stuff. And I think some MCs kind of like got into it and they just kind of had their little thing and you know started, you know, the whole gunplay thing outside
Mm-hmm.
or whatever,
Okay.
was that's I
Okay.
believe it happened. But yeah, that was that. But like I said, man, I hate to even say this, but you know, it came a time where we became desensitized to even stuff like that, like shots fired outside the club and you know whatever, and just be like another one, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and then you
Mm-hmm.
just kind of just go about your way or whatever. And it's like when I think back to that now, like shit, man, we were crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just, you know, like that part of it being nothing, like, you know, something could have happened to any one of us, but we were it's like the way we were moving. I wouldn't say it was careless, but you know, it's just like, man, it's just a thing of like you just can't be scared to like be outside or whatever because it's, you know, guns was in the hands of people that shouldn't have them
Mm-hmm.
or shouldn't have had them. But you know, it's like, what can we do?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I ain't never been scared to go outside. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the funny thing because people generally quickly desensibilize on these things. Like
Right.
they quickly become normal because yeah, you need to go on with your life,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. And
I
I
hope
swear,
that this is gone now, or is it still crazy?
it's actually worse.
Oh shit.
To be honest with you, it's actually worse. But I mean, even now, like man, I'm not turning around when I go. None of that. I'm not the toughest dude either. But at the same token, man, I'm not gonna be scared to be outside. That's just that is what it is.
Yeah, for sure.
It is what it is, man.
We talked about like banging out past. I assume things like Beatblocks are not really an issue for you, or do you deal with them?
Beatblocks never. That's even like I've never had writer's block. I've never had beat block where you can't just come up with nothing, because like, you know, it's understanding that even so like, I mean, everybody knows like I be having like a lot of I be making a lot of acapellas or whatever through Isotope. That's still part of the beat making process.
Oh, okay.
So I have days where I'll just sit and just make acapellas to be flipped later or whatever. So that's still part of the process. So if I sit and do that, technically I'm still creating,
Right.
because I'm in my head, I'm going over like, oh man, this is how I'm gonna flip this or whatever. So it's just still, so yeah, that's still a part of it.
Switching up, is it what you're saying? Like you switch up the working material, basically, right? You're not making a beat, but you're extracting those. Or...
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, you know, like it's like if you're preparing to DJ a party, right? And you're going through records and they say, oh, you know, we want you to spin R&B music for 2 hours or whatever. You know, as a DJ, part of it is getting that collection, you know, like I'm a rocking with this, I'm a rocking with that, and then just having, you know, certain records or whatever to rock for that night. Your R&B, you definitely, if you have a DJ bag, right, that got like all house music in it, right, and somebody book you to play R&B, you can't just carry that bag with the house music in there. They're gonna be like, oh yo, I thought we said R&B, like you come up here housing us, you know. Yeah, it's the same thing. And even like with MCing, it's like, man, so much like now, in my opinion, like this should be the easiest time for MCs. As far as content, like writing, man, there's so much going on like in the world right now. It's like when I grab my pen, I'd be like, shit, where do I begin? You know what I'm saying? It was like an excitement or whatever, because it's so much to attack. Or you know, it's so much to talk about like right now. Like this is like the best time for an MC right now. Like I don't see how anybody could have writer's block. Like I don't, and even like people that have beat block, like I understand it, but you know what that means? Like beat block to me means that okay, you have like a certain technique, right? But you exhausted it. So now it's time to create another technique, or, you know, try a different approach to beat making versus, you know, doing your own thing, because you've exhausted whatever technique or your go-to technique as far as beat making. So like I said, beat block, I understand it, but I think it's easy to come out of, like, unless you have an ego like about your work or whatever. You'd be like, oh, this is my sound, this is blah blah blah. Then naturally, yeah, at some point you're gonna have beat block, because like you rely on this certain style or whatever. Like that would be like this group Daz Effects, like when they came out and they had the rickety vibe, you know, like all that stuff or whatever. Like they exhausted that style well, no, I can't even say they did. I don't think they got a chance to exhaust their own style because people kind of took it and took it for themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the people around, like their peers, exhausted their style.
Mm-hmm.
So then they even switched up, which they actually got better to me because their projects afterwards, like they was killing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I said, I like that style for them. But then when other people came along doing it, I was just like, ah man, God, dog. But then they became the culprits, right? It's like, people was disrespecting them. And it was like, how you gonna diss them? They the originators. You need to diss the ones that bit their style
Mm-hmm.
uh, and just kind of killed it for them or whatever. Like them the ones you need to attack. But you had people just like, Dow's effects, diggity, all that stuff, which was
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
like that part was kind of whack. But I'm glad that they were able to move past it because they had skill. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's no like any you create something, you're skilled. Anybody that can come up with to make something out of nothing, that's a skill.
Right.
Like, and that's a skill to be proud of too.
Mm-hmm.
Check it out.
Yeah, I think it's actually a beautiful example for why I think protecting an idea or being protective about your idea is counterproductive. And like you need to come up with the next one because people will bite, and you can actually be happy when people start copying your stuff because like, okay, I created something that other people dig. I need to come up with the next one. And it's like, at least this is my approach to this, because you can't prevent people biting, and you can't prevent people taking the best parts and maybe even becoming better at this specific thing. So I better be prepared to abandon this and do something new, or build on top of this.
Well, yeah, like they say like what imitation is the best form of flattery.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, that's really a form of giving somebody their flowers too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Even when people, it kind of goes without saying. Like when people just keep
absolutely.
biting, it's like, ah man, okay, they don't, they on it. So I'll just accept that as flowers or whatever. But some,
Yeah, yeah.
you got some people that just want somebody to specifically say, hey, you created this. Here's your, they want people to be specific, and
Right.
everybody's not. Alpha men ain't like that. You know what I'm saying? Like the alpha male is not like that. Like an alpha male is just, whatever. But yeah, this is some people, and I think that's in a sense like that's where a person need to check their ego too.
Sure.
That's if you have like a ego about things, then you just on some like, ah man, they need to give me my props. I did this, I did that,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Mm-hmm.
too, yeah, that whole
Exactly.
thing.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
then what's killing me right now in this area, you have like I know it's a lot of people in Chicago that's they either they live off of old accolades, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
all this stuff they did in the past, or it's a lot of people running around that don't have a real history
Mm-hmm.
that's changing the narrative. So they're changing it and just popping, it's not just in Chicago. I mean, I see it as a problem in Chicago, but I'm seeing it more like in other places, period. Like people just coming out with just flat out lies. Just, oh man, I did this, I created this, and blah blah blah. And it's like, bro, you wasn't even around. Stop it, man. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
embarrassing, and it's almost, and the person keeps spewing it, it becomes annoying,
Mm-hmm.
and like say, and I always speak for Chicago, but like I was there for a lot of things. So when I see these stories come out, just be like, ah man, like yo, and then I do have people that like be fact checking through me, right? Like, yo, you was there for this. Did you see that? And then in my head, I'd be like, ah, man, like, that's the homie, right? Like, should I protect him? And like my way, because the people that's close to me, man, I you know, I had a bad habit of protecting them, right? So I just kind of leave stuff open, like, oh, is that what they said? Oh, okay. And then just, you know, just bow out gracefully.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
conflict
to a
of
fault.
interest. What do you do? Keep your
Right,
people
to a
safe.
fault. Yeah, I'm bad with that, man. Protecting loved ones. But you know, it is what it is, man.
Do you have a protected part of the gear that you keep in your studio because it is like it has to be here? It was my
beats are slamming.
Let's see. There's a piece that I wish that I still had that was stolen from me. At somebody broke into my apartment. I had this Yamaha RS-7000. That was that was a beautiful piece of gear, man.
Is it like a sampler? What was this?
Yeah,
The RS-7000.
it's a sampler. It took these weird flashcards that was like about like this big, right? But it hold a lot of songs on it. Yeah, I had a lot of stuff on there, and the only memory I have from that is like the stuff that I ran to tape. Which everything that I did, because I would keep the cards. I had like a carry bag for it, right? And like I had like those cards, they was inside the bag too, like on the like the front pouch of it. And like I said, when I would do something, I would always run it to tape or whatever. So like the only thing I have left, my only memory of it is the stuff that I have on tape. But I don't even think I want another one, man. I was a little bitter about that. I was bitter about that one.
Not replacing that piece of gear, I guess.
Yeah. You know, it is what it was, but it was that thing is nice, man. Like I love the filters on it. The delays on it were good, programmable. Even it had like its own internal synth engine on it. Like it was a bad piece of gear, man. That thing was bad. Like when you turn it on, it had sounds in it already that you could actually use, like not no cheesy stuff.
Right.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. And then but like the way I used to use the time stretch on it, it was pretty cool, like the whole time stretch thing.
Was it like live time stretch, or is it similar to MPC where you time stretch and go drink coffee or smoke a blunt?
Yeah, you have to like stretch it and then go do something and then come back and it'll be done. And then I chop. But I used to do that for my chops, like stretch certain things and yeah. So you know, because I'm still in that like, oh man, it's got to be unrecognizable, you know.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
Especially when I wanted to like touch something that was familiar. Yeah, like I got to make this unrecognizable.
Right.
Time my arm up at night between shows.
Do you have something similar in a plugin world today? Like some odd plugin that nobody would guess you were using all the time, or it's just there since forever?
Nothing really. I think like my go-to is Fab Filter's Saturn.
Yeah, that's a bad boy, actually.
Yeah, that's a go-to. So like every time you hear like the bass, like in my stuff, that's Saturn all day. like Saturn, that's part of my template. Like when it opens up, Saturn is right there on like my like one of my audio.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to you. I think you actually mentioned, yes, of course you did. In a discussion on Discord, somebody asked about like bringing up bass on lousy speakers, and I think you mentioned Saturn, that it introduces the harmonics, that like the bass, more of this comes through, and I was like, oh shit, I know there is Saturn for iPad, so I grabbed it the same day, and I use it as well. Thank you.
Yeah, that thing is beautiful, man. Yeah, so that's definitely a go-to. It's like I love like Ozone vintage limiter.
Mm-hmm.
I swear by that too. It has a sound to it. And it's not like bass like like the bass in it, like my bass sits perfectly. Like when I still do the car check, right? Do something, render it down, throw it on a thumb drive, put it in the truck, and go around the block a little bit. I still do that. And like I love, like ever since I started using it, I said, man, it feels right. Like the bass in it, like it feels right. I forget, it's a preset on it that I go to, but then all I do, I adjust the character. Now depending on what I'm banging out at the time. But I'll adjust the character. I'll turn it down, or just give it like a little subtle boost. But yeah, I swear by that thing too.
What do you think about the God particle? Have you tried it? Did you play with that?
I think I asked somebody, I think that was Complete. I asked Complete about it, and from what he explained, he said it's basically a multi-band compression, basically, like in a nutshell. He said that's what it pretty much is, and I said I don't really need another one of them, so I'm cool on that.
But you do use like something like an OTT on the tracks, or multi-band compression in general?
I have, but like I don't swear by it though. But I have, like because like somebody came out with an OTT, right? I can't even think of was it the ones that make Serum?
So I am aware of the Ableton one and the free one that I can't remember who made.
Is it X Transfer?
This sounds like it. I can look it up real quick, but
Yeah,
it's probably that.
And it probably does like the same thing or whatever. I think they got it from the Ableton like that preset or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean that OTT is dope. Like it's dope as hell. Like really good control over your sound or your mix rather. Like if you put it on your it gives you like really good control of your sound, like overall. Like I like it, but I mean I got my own ways. Got my own ways. I know Tyrone be killing that. He be killing that OTT.
Yeah, it's part of his DNA by now.
yeah, he kill that, man. Yeah. You should call it TOTT. Tyrone OTT. For real.
It's actually already an over the Tyrone. It's probably his name is in the original OTT.
Oh yeah, it gotta be. It gotta be, because yeah, he bodied that, no doubt. I wish I still had my my 4-track. Like I know where it is, and probably like the next time I go to Chicago, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to run up on my guy and get my 4-track.
Mm.
I still got man, I got so many like man, I got so many DAT tapes, uh 4-track tapes, uh floppy disks, like all that stuff, man. Cause it's like so my best friend, right? I used to build stuff and delete it, bro. Like
Mm-hmm.
just oh man, I bring that one out and just delete stuff or whatever. One day he stopped me, he was like, "What are you doing?" It's like, man, it's done. And
Mm-hmm.
I ran into a cassette tape and then just erased it. And he was like, "Man, bro, don't erase your stuff." And ever since that day, when he told me like don't erase stuff, I started keeping everything,
Mm-hmm.
like everything that I could. And he had his reasons for saying it. He's like, "Man, you never." But he was looking at too, like placements and all that stuff or whatever. And he said one man's trash is another man's gold.
Right.
Um, and it's funny, right? I think about like before he passed away, right? He started a company, Catalyst 01, and it was this guy, his name Maurice Mahan. He had won a contest in Chicago to where he would have like a record. Uh, he won a recording contract in his contest, and he would get to do a record with R. Kelly. I don't know what happened with R. Kelly, but I just know he was in the building so he was in this building with a whole bunch of studios, like we was on the 6th floor, like we was at one end, No ID was at the other end, like on the 6th floor. Um, so everybody would come through that building. They knew like everybody that was somebody had a studio in this building. Right? It was like just off the river downtown, or just off of by downtown Chicago. Um, so Maurice Mahan, like everybody else, he going door to door in the building, getting looking for music. Nobody had no music or whatever. Nobody that he had any music that he could gel with, right? So I did a track like the night before, right? And and it was more like a flip. It was like something that I don't want to give the record away, but it was something Premier had did, and I for Group Home, and I
Mm-hmm.
took it and I flipped it my own way, and sped it up or whatever, just had it rocking. So they sitting there going through tracks, right? He just sitting there, he like, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. My man said, "Hey, yo, Mac, you got something?" I said, "Yeah, I got something I was playing with last night." I put it in. It was on 2000 XL, right? Put the floppy in, hit play. His eyes lit up. He said, "That's it. That's it right there." He's like, "Can I go in the booth?" And he went and laid a song like right there on the spot, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Now, man, you remember when I program stuff, it's in song mode. It's like it was a marriage that was meant to be, because it's like the way he had his chorus and everything is how I had it programmed. That he
Mm-hmm.
did this, I don't think it was off the top of his head. He was looking for something that he already wrote or something or whatever,
Gotcha.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But when he went in the booth and laid it, I was amazed. I was like, damn, it was like he was over my shoulder when I was doing the beat. But I did this at home, like the night before. So we're in the studio. He did a song called She or whatever. And everybody, they was looking, they was like, wow. It's like we've been in this building for a minute, right? And like, and here Mac come with a beat he do like the night before, he gets first placement. Like and I was the last one to really
Yeah.
like just say, okay, I'll be down with the crew or whatever. And I joined the crew. Like we had like countless nights. I used to be in the studio every night,
Mm-hmm.
just banging out stuff, or like you had sessions or whatever, people coming through paying for beats, like all that stuff. Like I say, it was a central location. Everybody and their mama was like coming through that. Like I remember I was coming in the building. Like it was just a routine, bro. Get up in the morning, go to work, come home, get off 2:30, come home, shower, go to the studio, basically spend the night there, come home, get 2 hours of sleep, go to work, come back, repeat, do it all over again, right? One day I'm going in there, right? I come off the elevator, I look down, I said, damn, I seen this dude on the phone. No ID studio was down in that direction. See this dude on the phone. Say, damn, he looked familiar. So whatever. Go in the studio with my backpack. And then my man MC Juice come through. He said, hey yo. He said, man, my idols is down at No ID spot. And I said, who? He said, the Jungle Brothers. I jumped up. I said, yo. I said, man, I'm doing down there, right?
Crazy.
And I run down there because oh my God, like the Jungle Brothers, like I don't think I've ever been a stan up until that point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about, bro, like I sat kicking it with Dr. Dre, right? And Dre, like we kicking it like we like childhood friends.
Mm-hmm.
I remember he gave me an 8x10, right? The little black and white. He gave me an 8x10. He's like, yo, you want? Because my man was with me, and my man got one, and he signed. He said, yo, make it to my sister, right? And so he gave me one, and he said, you want me to sign it? And I was like, nah, like kind of with my nose up, like nah. But but I understand what that was. It was just like I never like stand nobody up until I saw the Jungle Brothers at No ID spot.
Mm-hmm.
And see, I run down there like a fan, like, yo, come in the room or whatever. Like, oh my God, I'm in the presence of the JBs, bro. Like, I still remember hearing Jim Browski for the first time, right? We used to listen to it's a college station, WHPK. Like that's like, I think that like groomed a lot of MCs in Chicago, producers too. And I don't know if you remember the promo, the common promo that you was like the tape was fluttering on the Zoom or whatever. Yo, that's from the station or whatever that was coming. Cause like early on, like one of the DJs that he had a show or whatever, he used to manage Common's first crew, CDR. Yeah, he used to manage CDR. But yeah, that was a moment, bro.
Crazy.
That was a
Did you
moment.
do
Like
something like? Did you get a chance to work with those guys in any way?
with the no. They was
It's just.
down there looking for me. Like I said, everybody used to come through the building. They didn't make it down to our end. I guess like No ID was the last stop
Mm,
for them or
okay.
whatever. Like I'm not even sure if they got anything. They probably did because like man, like No ID, like when he be looking for beats, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like 1,000 laptops. Like he'd be like, oh wait, oh no, oh wait. Like he just yeah, laptops and stuff everywhere. Like he just man, the dude is oh man, he's something else.
What was he working on back then?
Shit,
You're saying
what wasn't
laptops,
he
so it
working on
wasn't.
back
It's
then?
probably like the version 1 of Pro Tools and shit.
Probably because yeah, some of everybody in the building was on Pro Tools. We were using well, I'm saying I wasn't
Cubase.
even in the digital world. My
Mm-hmm.
best friend was using Cubase
Mm-hmm.
at the time, but he had Ableton too. Like he introduced me to Ableton. Um, we were working on a remix for Brandy, and he was like, he said, all right, he said, Mac, I got the perfect say I got the perfect software for you that should bring you over into this world. And he loaded up, he had Ableton early. I think it might have been like Ableton 3 or something,
Yeah.
right? So he opened it up and he took Brandy's vocals, the song she had with Kanye. He took her vocals and spread it across the keyboard. So I get on the keyboard, I'm playing with, I said, oh shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm playing with her vocals or whatever. So it's like the way I was tapping it out, became more up tempo. So I wound up doing like a house remix
Mm-hmm.
uh for that song or whatever. And I remember doing it, and then it was like Kanye vocals didn't fit because he come in and rhyme. So I just like chopped his part out
Mm.
and just kept her part. And then like when his part would come or whatever, I just did a repeat of like a couple of the lines from the beginning from Brandy's vocals
Mm-hmm.
uh for the almost like a bridge.
Just before.
That is good. So you're working with Ableton for a while now, then.
Yeah, because that was ooh, trying to pinpoint the era. There's a lot of stuff happening then. Yeah, there was a lot happening then. I'm trying to like narrow it down. Because the first anything that I was doing on a computer was on Rebirth.
Yo, it's not even Reason, right? So the Rebirth is the
It was like a
simulation
kind
of
of
a drum
like a,
machine and
yeah, that's what it was. 3 or 4 drum machines, like two
Right.
two of the acid, two 303s,
Mhm.
an 808 and a 909.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But it was dope because you could add your own samples into it. Like you didn't necessarily have to stick with the drum sounds
Got you.
that was with it or whatever. And I think I had like my best friend, he used to work for Steinberg. He wound up being like the Midwest rep for Steinberg or whatever. And yeah, so he introduced me to it. And then like he said, man, he said, you know, you like chaining drum machines and million them all up or whatever. So he said, I think you'll like this. So he introduced me to it. So then when I went and read about it, first thing I read about it in was it Electronic Musician magazine. The guy that did the Blade, he did the track for the Blade movie, the techno track.
FX
Uh
Twin? No.
no, that wasn't man, I can't remember dude's name, but he used for the fight scene where Blade was just going crazy and he was in the party and the techno beat that was going. This guy, he did it, but he did it on Rebirth. Right.
Great.
When I was reading, so I was just like, yo, I said, damn, okay. And see, back then too, so like in that era, like to make like going into the digital world, right, using DAWs, right? My approach, like when I wanted, like anytime I wanted to learn something, right, I would always program house tracks. So I would do like house music or whatever, because at the time that was the most experimental form of music, like techno. Like techno always pushes the envelope. House music, which I really think they're one, but it's like they like to separate it. Like, oh, techno is this and house music is that. Like, man, it's all house music. But but yeah, I would always program, like start with house music because it allowed me to be more experimental. And then once I learned some stuff, I'd be like, okay, cool. And now I could do whatever I want, with hip hop. Yeah. So
No, that's cool.
yeah,
That I like a lot. And then
crazy
not staying in one box, because those additional tools open new possibilities, and you, just like you said, you take specific parts and carry them over to whatever you prefer to do. It's just like you wouldn't even be open in the first place, in my opinion, if you don't embrace and try and give those other things a chance and try them out and see how they work.
Yeah. And it's so crazy, man. Like a lot of, I'll say, hip hop heads, like diehard hip hop heads, hated house music in Chicago. And there's a reason for it. We was running around, we had all those record labels in Chicago, but nobody wanted to sign us, right? And then it got to a point where they'd be like, all right, we'll sign you if you do house music. And they was like, what? Like, man, I'm a rapper, I don't want to do, and hence it came hip house, right? Where it's like a whole genre of hip house that started. So my man Cool Rock Steady, man, rest in peace. Man, he held that down. Like when he did, like I still remember when he did the song called "Turn Up the Bass," and oh my God, like that song, it got to a point where you couldn't go nowhere without hearing it. And yeah, it man, it a whole genre just opened
Mm-hmm.
up.
Mm-hmm.
And then man, they started going hip house crazy in Chicago. So then record labels. So if you was a rapper, right? You go to a record label, and a lot of people was going to this one record label, DJ International. And they was like, yeah, we'll sign y'all, but you gotta do hip house. So, we were saying like, oh man, they selling out. They not doing hip hop. They forcing them to do house and rap over house. But then some of the guys was like, man, look, I want to rap, and they're giving me a deal, but it's to house music. They like, I'm still rapping. So they was taking the little $50 bills that they was giving them, and they do like this house record, and then that'll be that or whatever. It would get no play, no promotion, or nothing. It was like all these compilations was coming out of these of my peers
Mm-hmm.
going down there in a studio just rapping for the sake of rapping, even though it's to house music. So, a lot of my guys was like, oh man, they selling out doing that or whatever. So it was a hate for house music. Like I couldn't hate it. I had an uncle that was doing like he was making house music, plus he was DJing at a skating rink. Um, People around me was doing house music. Like the guys I told you about earlier, I had joined a squad so I could like learn the drum machines and get to
Mm-hmm.
use drum machines and stuff. They were doing house music. So they called themselves the Bugle Boys, like after the jeans or
Mm-hmm.
the yeah. So I was running with that collective, um, like banging out house tracks
Mm-hmm.
because that's what it was. And then like I said, when I was by myself over there, like I said, my man like, oh, you go through some scales or whatever, and I'm gonna go to sleep, and I just play scales. As soon as I figure he's asleep, I'm hip hopping until I leave.
Ah, that's so interesting. I need to peep. Do you have something online from that era? Or do you still have those tracks, the house tracks?
Yeah, I got all my house tracks.
On tape. Probably.
On tape, I got them all over. I got like some stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
uh, CD stuff. Um, on all types of different. Remember the mini disc format?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got house tracks on mini disc. Yeah, but yeah, I'll shoot you some of that stuff, man. That stuff
Oh yeah.
is
Please.
pretty interesting.
Have to
I got,
peep.
you know what? I got some recent stuff too. Like I think I let RTO hit some, and he was like, "Man, if you don't release that stuff, like you need to quit playing." That's my G too, RTO. Um, but yeah, I had shot him some house tracks I did. He was like, "What? Like, man, if you don't start releasing that stuff."
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm gonna shoot you that stuff
Oh,
too.
thank you. Yeah. Absolutely. I would so love to hear this. So, for how long were you making those? Like, how long was that period where you were into a house?
Honestly, I can't even pinpoint it. Like from the start, like when it became a thing,
Mm-hmm.
like in Chicago, we was just into it. I think my first house track. Um, hmm, might have been in the 80s. It might have been in the 80s when I did like my first house track. I tried to redo Ohio Players Love Roller Coaster. It made it into a house track or whatever. It wasn't even sampled, it was played.
All right.
And it was played. And then I just remember I had borrowed it was a sampling guitar pedal, right? I sampled it. What did I say? I think I sampled like some drums or something. And it just just had it looping. And just programmed everything around it. And then I had like a little drum machine that I had play along with it. Like it was crazy, like trying to sync that stuff up when I finally got it synced, whatever, and just play, it play stuff real time. So didn't have no sequence or nothing. But yeah, that was my first house track. And then just started going crazy from there. I had even it's an old blues singer. He had opened his studio up to me. He was on the west side of Chicago. Blues singer named Otis Clay. He passed away too. He opened up his studio. I did a house track with him too. And I remember I was trying to get some DJs, DJ Rush and his partner Sean, to come to the studio with me and bang out. And they was tripping, right? And I was like, I said, yo, the studio's open to me. They was like, how much? I said, yo, don't worry about that. It's all good. They was like, wait, we going to the studio for free? Like, which was hilarious. But yeah, they never made it to the studio with me or whatever. And I think Rush moved to Germany now, DJ Rush. But yeah. Fun times, man.
Absolutely.
House music is it's important, especially in Chicago. Like, a lot of people, there's a lot of bad business happen with house music in Chicago. So like, I know like a lot of my friends that did house music early on, like they hate it now. It leaves a bad taste with them. And it's understandable because even now, I think they just started. So like one of the main guys that was just taking people's money, like taking their rights and stuff. He just passed away. It may have been a year now or whatever. So they're just starting to see like money from the 80s.
Crazy.
Which is terrible, but like I understand why that stuff leaves a bad taste with them.
Crazy. Labels got them. Well, I guess it's the same for everybody, right? The label game, especially in the early days.
Oh man, my uncle got he got deep history, like I said, with house music, because he's putting out records and stuff too. And in fact, I was just with him like a couple of weeks ago. He had flew out here for my aunt's party, and we were talking about like that guy that got everybody's rights to their music. And like a lot, it's funny because like now like lawsuits are popping up now where they're coming after. He's passed away, but he I think he tried to pass it on to like his lady friend or whatever. And so they're coming after her, to get their money or whatever. So like I had went and looked on streaming, and like a lot of that stuff is gone, man. Like they took, because he was still getting money from streaming for those, those classic songs too. And it's like those artists got like little or nothing for that stuff. And yeah, like I said, they starting to see some money from it now. But my uncle, boy, he gave me crazy history about that stuff, man. Like a lot of stuff I didn't know. Like we spent like the whole day talking about this. He was just blowing my mind with everything he was saying. Just like I said, he was there for it. This guy, the one that passed away, he had a vinyl pressing machine. So he used to press his own vinyls. But my uncle told me, my man was like pressing, he would run out of like vinyl, like the acetates. And he was trying to like melt down he was melting down like shoes and like crazy stuff, like for the vinyl and stuff, right? So he was saying, and he was pointed to specific records. He was like, "Man, you remember this record?" It's like, "Yeah." He said, "Remember it was warped and it was like around a certain part." It's like, "Yeah." So yeah, it's because he put shoes in the like, oh my god. Yeah, so it was like we had deep conversations about that and stuff.
It's different kind of cutting vinyl.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but yeah, it was something else. But that's an era I'll never forget. Like when they said, you know, they like when it exploded, like it was on the news. Like, oh, like house music is here, like it's here, and he was showing like, you know, parties and stuff. And yeah, and it's nothing like a Chicago house party, even to this day.
If you could take only 3 items to continue this music journey, what would that be?
Well, I mean, this isn't gear related, but like to keep my motivation up, I gotta have Gangstar Daily Operations CD.
Excellent.
I'm thinking between 404 and an iPad because I kind of need Koala. Third thing. Man, it's kind of music related because it has Cord Gadget.
A Cord Gadget?
Nintendo, yeah, Cord, the gadget. Yeah, Nintendo Switch, bro. Like, yeah, so my Nintendo Switch, iPad, and Gangstar Daily Operation CD. That's the 3 things that I would need.
Oh, this is amazing. I love it.
Like Daily Operation, like I always go, like if I'm ever feeling down, I listen to that, man, and it lifts me up. Like it always has, like ever since it came out, like it always has. Like I can listen to that and I feel better about everything.
Is this somehow related to your own like not how you want your music to be in a sense, like what it does to people?
Oh yeah. Yeah, music. Yeah, definitely. Like certain songs have different emotions attached to it. And yeah, definitely that Gangstar. Like I love all of the Gangstar albums equally. But that particular one it was like I was going through something when that came out. So day one, I actually heard an advanced copy of it. And when I heard it, it just did something to me. And it's just like I just felt better. So then when it actually came out and I went and bought it, I just rocked with it. And I continue to rock with it, like to this day. Like it's in the truck. Like I rock with it. I rock with it heavy. No Shame in My Game. It's like my favorite song on there.
Yo, this is your host with the most, the grand high exalted, never faulted, known as Guru, sticking it to you.
Yeah, that's my favorite song. It's simple or whatever, but it's like, man, Guru's talking to me. Like he's talking that talk like to me. So yeah, that's personal. So yeah, so it's like I have to have, so if I'm on an island, like I know the lyrics and everything, but I have to have it. I have to listen to it. Yeah, I have to have Guru have that conversation with me. You know what I'm saying?
Had this bad chick in town, she was had me.
Who would you like to play at your funeral, dead or alive? Can be
Jungle Brothers.
Gotcha.
Jungle Brothers, man. I wish I could say De La, but man, Trugoy not here no more. Trugoy not here no more. Like that, like in all honesty, like Run DMC is the ones that like just pushed me further into hip hop, right? Maybe just get into it more. Like their because their style, it was minimal, right? Drum machine, them a DJ, you know, some turntables, and it's them, you know, MCing like with a to it, right? That's what made me feel like, yo, I could do that. Like I could do that. Cause like I love Melly Mel, I love Kumo D and them, but like I think part of it, like the way they was dressing and stuff, like I couldn't see myself in that. Like I couldn't see myself rocking spikes. You know, like the crazy the costumes that they had or whatever. Whereas when you had Run DMC come along, right? Lee jeans, Adidas, leather jacket. I said, oh, I see myself, right? I wore glasses. So it's like I was DMC in my head. So it's like, yo, that's me. Like I could see them. I could see myself as that or whatever. So yeah. Them De La Soul changed my life. Well, Jungle Brothers first, right? Because they came in that era where hip the overall sound of hip hop was changing. And that was your KRS-One, your Public Enemy, your Jungle Brothers, like that era. But like when I heard Jungle Brothers, Jim Browski was the first song I heard from them, right? Life changing. Like it blew my mind when I heard that. And then when I started hearing the album, before I even got the album, I was hearing, like, let's listen to WHPK, like that was our station in Chicago. They would play like certain songs, and every Jungle Brothers song, I was just like, Jesus Christ, like these dudes is, you know, like this is it. When I got the album, my mind is blown. So I'm like, yeah, them those dudes. But like when De La Soul came out, like that shifted my whole world. And when I first heard De La, I heard the song called Check the Clock. And it's like a lot of people not familiar with the song, right? But this is early De La. It's my first time hearing them. Check the Clock. They had this crazy style. And I'm listening. And I was like, Jesus Christ, this dude's not even rhyming, right? But it was dope. It's like just that aspect of like, you know, it was going against the grain. Because I always felt like hip hop, early hip hop would always go against the grain, push the envelope. That era, everybody was different, which was a beautiful thing. Your ultramagnetic, like it was all beautiful. But De La, for some reason, like they did it to me. So I remember when I first heard 3 Feet High and Rising, my man Kingdom Rock, he had bought the album. He got off work, bought the album, came home. We was at his house. I was with, at the time, my DJ Riot One. We sitting there listening to it. Every song fire. And we just going crazy. I'm talking about like one of them where you listening to songs and you getting chills. Like I'm listening to every song, getting chills. Like, yo, this De La is something else, right? And the last song went off. I was just like, man, this is it. They the best group ever. This is it. They the best group ever. And then, Lord knows, when I heard De La Soul is dead, I was like, oh wow, they killed themselves and they're this dope. They the best group ever. They the best group ever. Pasta News, #1 MC. What?
It's crazy how early they were, like how they pioneered so many things.
Oh yeah.
It's just amazing, dude.
Yeah, but that, man. Like going back to that, like, certain things, man, I just feel like, you never had that feeling again. Like I just can't imagine, like, I know they say like March 3rd, their stuff comes to streaming.
This
Yes.
right, they got the rights back or something, or what was the
Yeah, they yep, that's exactly what's going on. So it's like they're gonna like everything's gonna be streaming. So it's like I may relive that all over again. Like just going, and I have all of the stuff or whatever. Like I could just go downstairs and just play it. But it's gonna be interesting. Like when like people, because it's still people that hasn't really fully heard De La Soul like that
Oh, for sure.
because of the the whole streaming thing. So man, I wish I could be with somebody that hears De La,
The
especially 3
first.
Feet High and Rising, like for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna blow their mind, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
to think that that came out then, but it's no way to like really relive like when that came out for that time.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, my mind was blown. My mind
Absolutely.
blown. And of course, like Rakim, all-time favorite MC.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. Like
Rakim all day. I did a Rakim flip. I
I
gotta send you
wanna.
that. Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
love
for
it.
sure.
I love it. I gotta get you that. Yes, I'd be in here in my own world, man. I'd be like, man, what would such and such sound like over this particular thing? Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes my wife be going crazy, like, I don't remember this song sounding like this.
Uh-huh.
And then, the craziest thing, like I remember I drove my brother crazy, my brother and my friends, like everybody around me. Like when I actually got into DJ Screw, like real heavy. Um, like his chopped and screwed stuff. Um, man, I was, and mind you, like I never sipped lean before. I don't smoke weed or nothing, but I gravitated towards it. Like I don't know, it was pure to me. Even though it was slowed down, he was still cutting or whatever. He's still magnificent DJ.
Mm-hmm.
I just love the art of DJing. I love turntablism.
Mm-hmm.
So when I heard him, I was just like, yo, his chops it was so precise, right?
Mm-hmm.
So listening to him, I said, man, this dude is dope. Like, I don't care. And then start listening to his MCs, what they call the screwed up click or whatever. Like I fell into that stuff heavy, like to a point where when I would hear, because he screwed everything, when I would hear the regular version of the songs, I'd be like, man, it's too fast,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then I had to like kind of snap out of it for a second. But then like DJ Michael Watts came along and it had like the whole Swisher House movement, which was that movement was really, really dope. But it was still a sadness there because it wasn't Screw. Like I was so used to Screw, like doing Screw thing. So it was just like, and then people used to look at me like I was crazy. And the thing was, it's just I love hip hop, like all together.
Right.
Like I love like when Two Live Crew first came out, like people was like, that's that bass music. So, yo, that's hip hop. You got Brother Marquise, he MC, like he's spitting. Um, but I had my moment where I like fell into bass music and I was bumping like A-Town Players and like all that stuff or whatever. And I'm like, yo, this is hip hop. This is rhythm and poetry. They rhyming. Yeah, they rhyming about things that we don't normally rhyme about, but they still MCs. They still rhyming.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm. No.
yeah, so that's always been my thing. So I had a love for all of that, bro. All of that. Like I said, I drove my brother and them crazy. Like I was playing Screw. They'd be like, oh my God. And I got it. I'm playing it in the car, pull up, people looking, oh, that's because it's slow and it's like the vocals are deep. So you listening to devil music because of course that's the natural reaction
Mm-hmm.
because it's not what you're used to.
Mm-hmm.
Say call it what you want. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
It don't matter what you think about it. I like it and I enjoy it
Mm-hmm.
to a point where man, I was meeting people and then I was meeting people from Texas, right? And they would trip out like, damn, like you into like, man, you taking me back home thinking about this stuff. Like you're really into that stuff. So then they would go back home and they would send me like all of this uh DJ Screw stuff. I would get like the Planet Texas CD, like I would just like I still got as I had like so much, like the garage is full of music, like all kinds of stuff. Like nobody should be surprised at what they'll find like in my garage. But like once I tapped in to like that, like when I tapped in the Screw, like I tapped in. When I tapped into like Miami bass, I tapped in, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like I tapped in. Like I was doing mixes, like bass mixes and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That whole culture. Yeah.
That's very inspiring. I really like this. Love the love the attitude. I really appreciate
And
that.
the crazy, I'm still like that now. Like like I think like we was talking about like trap music and like trap producers. I was just like, yeah, like at this point now, like I got like I said, I got to a point where I was just all screwed. I was screwed out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was just like, all right, like, screw not here no more. But like, I'll go back every now and then and like, play some screw stuff, reminisce, like, oh man, like, yeah, this is still good stuff or whatever. Same thing with trap. Like, I got trapped out. Like at some point, it's like trap, trap, trap. Like, damn. But I had like a certain appreciation for trap too. Um, like people be like, oh, they saying the same thing, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, not necessarily, but like I'm not gonna throw them away. Same thing with drill. Like I got a love for drill.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I understand it's like death culture, like all that stuff or whatever, but hell, uh, when we was breakdancing to Melly Mel's white lines and stuff. He talk
Mm-hmm.
about drugs and like all that stuff or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So like like that stuff comes with it. But I'm definitely not gonna throw Melly Mel away.
Mm-hmm.
Like I got love for Melly Mel like
Mm-hmm.
all day.
Say, Doris, would you like to have a drink with me? Just you and me, away from everybody.
What would you not want the kids to do? The next generation.
I wouldn't want them to like not give their kids a chance at self-expression.
Mm-hmm.
Um it's like I really believe that everybody should be able to express themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how like the world moves forward
Mm-hmm.
when you express yourself.
For sure.
Yeah, that's hip hop culture is self-expression. That's all it is.
Unhinged self-expression,
Yeah,
even.
yeah, but I mean, it took over the world because guess
Mm-hmm.
what? Everybody has something to say.
Right.
Everybody has a voice or whatever. So I wouldn't want the future to be muted.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't want them. But they should have their say too. Every generation should have their say,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of what it is. Because yeah, when you talk about certain things, there's a level of uncomfort that comes with it. But I think it's good to be uncomfortable because if you get too comfortable, you're not moving. It's no way to move forward. If you're comfortable, you're gonna sit right where you're at. Like you're not gonna move nowhere. But if you're uncomfortable, then you all right, I'm gonna do something. And it's either, when you're uncomfortable about something, it's either you're not doing something right or the next person is not doing something right. And then there's at least a conversation or like some steps are taken to correct it and to be able to move forward. You always want to move forward. You don't want to sit still. You definitely don't want to go backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just let the future should let their kids express themselves, like hear them out. Don't throw them away like my generation is trying to do to them, like throw them away on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, and truth be told, like I know like technically my generation is correcting a lot of stuff that my father and them generation dropped the ball on. Like
How do you mean?
well, so like my father wasn't in my life growing up, but I'm in all of my kids' life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm breaking that generate because it's like
Mm-hmm.
my father, my uncles, and all of them or whatever. They, just wasn't present in me and my
Mm-hmm.
cousins' lives or whatever. But me and all of my cousins and stuff, we're in our kids' like, and we make it a point to be there and let them know that our presence is there.
Right.
So it's breaking that curse, you know what I'm saying, from them
Mm-hmm.
instead of
Mm-hmm.
repeating the same thing that they did or whatever, which is
Mm-hmm.
important.
Absolutely. Shout
Yeah.
out to
So
you. Yeah.
yeah. So definitely don't want them to throw them, be there with them and just
Mm-hmm.
don't throw them away and throw out their ideas and like all of that stuff. Because, you know, like my moms and them, like they didn't accept hip hop. Like, I was an A student, right? But of course, they they threw the doctor, lawyer, they threw all that stuff in my face or whatever. So I'm all in magnet schools, like acing them
Mm-hmm.
and all of that, right? But I'm like, yo, I'm hip hop, and they looking like what? So first thing they equated to is thugging. So they just like, you throwing this away to be a thug? Bro, look at me, I'm no thug. Like, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? But yeah, that was what it was. But it was like, I don't want to be what you want me to be. I want to be what I want to be,
Right.
and that's that. And that that's important.
Absolutely.
That's
It's
important. Let them be what they want to be. If you want to be I don't know, you want to be a librarian, be the best librarian you can be. If that's what you want. You want to
mm-hmm.
be like, I don't look down at none of that. It's like we need everything.
Mm-hmm.
We need that. We always need fresh ideas for stuff or whatever. So if you shutting that down, guess what? We're not going to be able to move forward because you shutting down an idea that could be really something. It could be
Yeah.
something, it could be something life-changing. It's just you don't know, but just allowing them to have a voice, I think it gives everybody a chance.
Mm-hmm.
I know that was
Absolutely.
long-winded, but
No, but it contained several gems. Apart from the key statement, you mentioned so many things that like deeply resonate with me. Like I feel exactly the same way,
yeah,
and I think it's really important for the world to be like very diverse, and you need all kinds of people. You need all kinds of jobs being filled by people who are super excited about this. It's actually like counterproductive to just everybody to do one thing. Or like you don't need a world full of lawyers or
right,
accountants. You need all the different those lawyers and accountants need to
right,
serve somebody. So
right.
uh, it's absolutely on point in my opinion. Jesus. Mckthrn, I will carry this huge bag of gems now.
My man.
Thank you so much for this convo. It's really heavy on stuff. I will definitely have my fun reviewing this and jotting it down, and I can't wait to share this with the guys with the Sidechain family because you are amazing,
Man,
incredible,
you are. In
incredible.
fact, Sidechain is amazing. Like I said, it gave me new life. Um, like I said, I love all of them. I love them, bro. Like unconditionally too.
Mhm.
Like
Yep.
it's a certain excitement to just sit, like we would sit in them sessions like till the next day or whatever. If I was bored or it was like nothing there, of course I wouldn't spend that type of time. Like I want to play my beats and be out, but like nah, it's engaged. It's like I want to
Mhm.
hear what everybody has to say. I want to hear their creations. Like all of that. Like all of that is important. It's an important community. I love it to death, bro.
Same here. Shout out to Sidechain.
No doubt. What? Sidechain forever. If I have it my way.
Word up. Absolutely. Well, Mckthrn, thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you so much. And
Thank
it
you.
was a huge pleasure